The world's largest aircraft carrier is heading home after a historic and high-stakes deployment in West Asia. The USS Gerald R Ford is set to return to its home port in Virginia after spending more than 300 days at sea. Now, the Gerald Ford's recent deployment, remember, has been the longest for a U.S. carrier since the Vietnam War era. The carrier has been at the heart of America's two crucial escalating regional conflicts, including military actions linked to Iran and a high-profile operation involving the capture of Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro, who now sits in an American prison. Now, the Ford's return, remember, comes at a time when U.S. naval presence in West Asia has been exceptionally high. Just last week, the USS George H.W. Bush had arrived in the region, joining the USS Abraham Lincoln, which has been deployed since January this year. This temporarily brought the number of American aircraft carriers in the region to 3. Now, this level of deployment has not been seen since the 2003 Iraq conflict. Earlier this month, the USS Gerald R Ford surpassed a major milestone. It broke the record for the longest post-Vietnam deployment. On its 295th day at sea, it exceeded the previous record that was set in 2020 by the Abraham Lincoln during the COVID-19 pandemic. This achievement highlights operational endurance of the American warship. Simultaneously, it has also raised concerns about the toll on the service members and the strain on the carrier's military equipment, especially after the carrier previously suffered a fire incident that forced it to leave the Mediterranean waters to a NATO base in Greece for further repairs. Meanwhile, Iran's Supreme Leader Mojtaba Khamenei has issued a new written statement that was read on Iran's state television. He claimed that Washington has suffered a disgraceful defeat in this war. Mojtaba has also declared that Iran will continue to protect its nuclear assets even as Trump's Hormuz blockade remains in place. America's tensions with Iran remain sharp at the moment. Iranian Naval Commander Rear Admiral Shahram Irani has issued a strong warning. He claims that a new weapon he says adversaries will deeply fear will soon be revealed. Now, Iran has also asserted that Iranian forces carried out multiple missile strikes against the USS Abraham Lincoln and temporarily disrupted its ability to conduct air operations. According to Iran, its armed forces have launched over 100 waves of retaliatory strikes across the region since hostilities escalated in late February. With a fragile ceasefire in place between the two adversaries, the stage for further conflict has been evolving. The attention now shifts to Washington, where President Donald Trump is expected to receive a critical briefing from the U.S. Central Command Chief, Brad Cooper. Reports suggest that a range of military operations are under consideration, including a short and powerful series of strikes targeting Iranian infrastructure. There's a possibility of deploying special forces operation to secure highly enriched uranium stockpiles as well. Stopping Iran's nuclear program has been at the core of Trump's and Netanyahu's war games in Iran. While airstrikes and long-range attacks can damage facilities, destroying or removing Iran's nuclear stockpile would likely require a full-scale ground invasion. With more than 50,000 troops already present across West Asia and reports of 82nd Airborne slated to join the force, Washington's intention of putting boots on the ground is now evident. But such an operation would not only face Iran's military fury, its natural defenses as well will have to be faced by American forces. Let's quickly break this down for you. The Zagros Mountains, remember, which stretch over 1,500 kilometers across western Iran, create a natural wall that shields the country from land invasions from Iraq and Turkey. The range extends towards the southern coast near Bandar Abbas, adding an extra layer of defense. The Alborz Mountains, as you can see in the map, run along the southern coast of the Caspian Sea. They stretch about 900 kilometers. This range forms a barrier between the Caspian coast and central Iran, making any advance through northern Iran a complex and dangerous task. Another plan expected to be shared with Trump is focused on taking over part of the Strait of Hormuz to reopen it to commercial shipping. But of course, such an operation will also require more extensive naval deployment in addition to the boots on ground. Iran also, remember, controls key islands in the Persian Gulf and the Hormuz, which provide strategic advantages. The Karg Island, which is located 25 kilometers off the coast, is an oil export hub with flat terrain, but easy to defend using missiles, artillery and drones. Abu Musa, Greater and Lesser Tunb are close to the UAE coast and they're critical shipping lanes. They allow Iran to take control of, in fact, tanker movement into the Hormuz. These islands are heavily fortified, but small size and limited natural cover make invasion difficult. Finally, you've got the Hormuz Island Group, which includes Qeshm, Hormuz and Larak, which sit at the gateway of the Strait of Hormuz. Control over these islands gives Iran the leverage over global oil shipping lanes, and their proximity to the mainland makes offensive operations extremely risky. At the same time, Donald Trump has raised questions about the U.S. military footprint in Europe as well. Remember, he's been criticizing NATO allies for not contributing more naval support for his Iran campaign. Trump has now indicated that his administration is considering reducing troop levels in Germany. As per reports from the U.S. Defense Manpower Data Center, currently more than 68,000 American troops are stationed across Europe, with over 36,400 based in Germany.